Hello, everyone. Welcome to KP and HM Talk Sport. Today the roles are a bit reversed. Today, Kieran's been interviewing me, and he's been chatting to me this past couple of weeks. But today I'm gonna be asking Kieran the questions. So yeah, so what I like to ask you first, Kieran, is because obviously I'm an ambassador of the multischool council, and you're the head of it and all that. I just wanted to ask you, what made you want to start the multischool council?
Okay, so the multi-schools council was because of Charlie originally, who I know you know well, Harry, and that's because I ran the school council at Marketfield originally, and Charlie was on the school council at the time, and she said that it was great the kind of understanding we had in special schools, but one day she and her friends had to leave the school, and other children, even other adults, didn't understand children with autism, children with ADHD, whatever it might be, and we needed to change that. So I remember saying, okay, how are we going to change that? Thinking, I wasn't sure at the time. And Charlie said, well, we need to connect with other schools. We don't do anything with other schools. We're just here on our own. So we've reached out to other schools, and it went from there. But yeah, the whole idea, obviously, as you know, Harry, is to listen to young people. But the reason it started was because of Charlie.
Exactly, and it's such a great thing that we've got things like this to give us neurodivergent people a voice. And from there, I wanted to ask you, Kieran, why is giving young neurodivergent people a voice so important?
It's so important because I think, and you might have a view on this as well, Harry, is that sometimes your voices could get swallowed out, kind of lost in transition, because maybe louder people, maybe people who are more confident at first, kind of try and talk for people, which I don't think is right. And I think if you're going to raise awareness about anything, you need to talk to the people that are most affected, and that's obviously, you guys, you're the ones that live and breathe everything that we kind of try and challenge perceptions about. So it'd be wrong for us just to say, well, I've worked with children with a range of needs, so that means I must know how you feel, because I don't. I can have an idea, but until I speak to you, till I speak to the other ambassadors we have involved, I don't really know. And that's been proven time and time again. So when we've done projects and events, they've all been designed by ambassadors like you, Harry, and I never would have come up with the ideas that you guys have. So it's so important that, I think, firstly, you have the platform, because I know that you are passionate about it because it affects you, and you know best how it feels. And secondly, there's not enough awareness out there. So when I was at school, if you'd said to me, Harry, what is autism, I wouldn't have had a clue, because we never ever spoke about it. So what I hope it does do now is it gives you the platform to be able to tell other people about it. And I know you've done some great work doing things like this video, but also all the work the other ambassadors have done and continue to do. So it's really important. And I hope it also gives you a boost and some confidence to think, actually, yeah, it's okay for me to speak out. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah. What you touched on it there about the ambassadors and everything. I just wanted to ask you, what makes a great multi-schools council ambassador?
Oh, that's a really good question, Harry. Obviously, we're open to everybody being involved, so there's no criteria. People sometimes say, what's the criteria for joining? There isn't, but people have to be passionate. So they have to be passionate about something. So that could be anything at all that they feel there's not enough awareness about. So it's someone who's passionate, who's willing to work in a team, because I think teamwork's really, really important, and none of us can do any of this on our own. It's all about working together. I think, as well as I just said about being able to be vocal and speak out, it's also about being able to listen to each other. So I know a lot of our ambassadors are in working groups that maybe they don't know much about. So, for example, visual impairments, we've got some people involved in the visual impairment group who don't have visual impairments themselves, but would like to learn more about it. So I think, we are open to every kind of single person joining who wants to. I think, like I say, they have to be passionate about it, but teamwork, the listening to each other, and just the want to be involved, really.
Yeah, that's like I say, multi-schools council is amazing how it gives every young person a voice, because that was very lacking for the multi-schools council, especially within this area. There was not much. So I'm so glad we've got you, Kierran, to give us a voice.
Oh, thank you.
What I want to ask you is, what is your vision for the multi-schools council in the future? Obviously, you've done so much, but what more do you want to achieve?
Yeah, so as you say, Harry, we have done a lot, and I feel happy that we've done a lot, but there's so much more we can do, and there's no way that we're stopping. And I love it when people kind of question us about, what impact is it having? Are you doing as much as you could? Because actually, it just spurs us on to go and do more and more. And so, vision-wise, we obviously want to make sure it's further established in Essex, because that's where it's kind of been born, and continue to spread into different schools. Within 3 more years, we want every single school in Essex to be signed up. So we've got 378 at the moment in the Essex Local Authority, and we want every school. And there's around kind of 530, 540 schools. So we've still got a little way to go. We want to make sure then that we reach out to the other areas that we've started in. So Thurrock, Southend, Hertfordshire and Norfolk, and try and slowly grow them. And then moving further ahead to that, we want to make sure that children, wherever they are, have a voice, and whoever they are as well, whatever background they come from. So we want to approach the Department for Education, because at the moment they fund parent carer forums, which are important because, the voice of parents obviously are very important as well. However, I would say that children's voices are even more important. And where's the funding for that? Where's the money that goes to groups and specific groups that want to raise awareness? And where is it? So we want to make sure in the future we can have a model that could then maybe be funded by the DfE, and it could go across England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland as well, and just really, really grow, and make sure every area has some form of multi-school council where children can create awareness, can break down some of those perceptions in education. And what we would hope that would lead to is, on the national curriculum, have awareness programs around things like autism, ADHD, different learning areas, so that children understand it. And then below that, you'd also have staff training as well. So the model we have in Essex, replicate that in every area. So some people might listen to this, Harry, and think, oh, that's, very big scale, but actually you only live once. And if you don't dream big, then, what's the point? So we're continuing to work hard. We're realistic. We know that, that would take a lot of hard work, but I'm confident, Harry, that, we've got some, them, don't you? We've got some brilliant people in Essex, and I'm sure we can replicate that in other areas.
100%. Like you say, I don't know why awareness wasn't thought about sooner for these type of things, but what you're doing is an amazing job, and I am sure you'll achieve all those things. The final thing I want to ask you, Kierran, which is an important question. You asked it to me yesterday, last week, and I want to ask you again because it's quite it's everyone has their own opinion on it. What makes a good leader?
So definitely come to that. Before I mention that, Harry, I think your closing comments there about saying, I'm sure I will make that. And the thing is, we will make it happen, Harry. So, between us, I want to make sure that, young people are going to ride the journey of the motor schools and make sure that they're at the heart of that. And more than the heart, they're the driving force. So we will get there. In terms of what makes a good leader, I'd give very similar answer to what you did last week, Harry. So I think, first of all, it's about being open and kind of listening to different people, because nobody can do things on their own. I'd certainly hold my hands up and say that sometimes I can get so focused on things because I'm very passionate about it that I can sometimes forget there are some brilliant people around, and it's about reaching out to them. So I think a good leader would hopefully recognize that. I think that they need to, again, be passionate. So like we were saying about the ambassadors, I think they need to be passionate about what they're doing. They need to love what they do. So I absolutely love what I do. If I didn't, then I probably wouldn't be doing it, because I think, what's the point in doing a job or a role that you don't really like? So I think you have to love it. And I think you have to show a lot of hope. So in times where maybe things are quite difficult, and you, even yourself, maybe you're under pressure, or maybe you're struggling yourself because of maybe personal situations, I think you have to kind of be a good role model and just show hope at all times, because other people may look up to you and may come to you. And I think it's about that as well. So obviously with the listening to people, I think that's really key, first of all, passionate. And as I say, making sure as well that you kind of that role model of hope, because I think people may look up to you.
That's a great answer, Kieran. I completely agree.
Thanks,
And
Harry.
I think in the Multischools Council, we've got a team full of leaders in our ambassador, the group's ambassadors, and I think we're going to achieve great things with the team we've got. But thank you, Kieran, for this interview. Thank you everyone for listening and bearing with me while I ask Kieran the questions. But thank you, Kieran. See you soon.
Brilliant. Thanks. See you next week, Harry.
See you next week.